Saransh Kataria. I am the chapter lead at Developer Circle Facebook, and Matt will be talking about Developer Circles after me. So I'm happy that I'm not the last guy and the guy stopping you from eating food. So we'll have that in a moment. But till then, how many of you already know about Developer Circle? A fair share. Okay. So the remaining ones you'll get enlightened about it soon enough. And how many of you are aware about React? Okay. So I think I can probably skip this slide. So React is the most loved language framework library, and it tops the list because it enhances developer productivity. So I'll probably not talk more about it. And React essentially provided you with a new way to build UI. So what essentially that means is a new declarative way of building UI. So let's consider this example. Imperative versus declarative UI. So this is the old way. In this I am managing states. So I check if the user has liked it, then I check for the state, and then this is all happening when you click the event. So whenever the user clicks on that like button, so you will just check the state first, that if it already has been liked and it does not have it, then you remove the like and then add the blue like. Else, again the same thing. So when you click the like button, it will change and then again change back if you want to do that. So the problem here is, this looks easy if you're seeing it for this, but when more state is added, it gets more complicated. So the declarative way of doing this is just you separate everything. You just see if this state is this, then return this, else that. This makes things very simple and life as a developer very easy. So transitioning between states. So let's say you want to go from up to down. So there can be a challenge that you might be thinking that everything gets re-rendered, and that might be a cost. But React actually calculates the smallest set of changes that has to be made, and that set of changes is only rendered to the DOM. So for an example, from going this to this, you just insert this caption, change the like button's color and also the text color. These are the only changes that are pushed to the DOM and nothing else. Many of you might be thinking, well, that's good enough, but what about mobile? So in 2015, React team, the mobile team at React decided that, hey, all these concepts that are being presented in React look very cool. So let's just shamelessly copy them. So they decided to build something, but the challenge was that native UI and working with JavaScript is a very big problem. So if you just do one thing, as JavaScript is single-threaded, it will create many problems. So if you have the user scrolling, you always want the main event loop running, and you just don't want unnecessary syncing, and you don't want the UI thread to be blocked by anything. So that creates a problem. And even if there existed many frameworks like Cordova, Ionic, but that creates a very big problem because I am scrolling and if more data is to be fetched, that gets hanged. That creates a lot of problems. So the Facebook solution was to bring React to native mobile. And the way it is done is that all this React code, this is just a sample. So all this React code gets compiled into your Java and Objective-C code at compile time. So basically, I just write a component. The render function just tells me that this is my button, and on handle press, I'll just change this state, and because the state gets on, as soon as the state gets changed, the render function gets called again, and the text gets toggled. So that depends on the text. So as you can see in this demo, so all I did was write this JavaScript, and at compile time, React will convert it into Objective-C code and Swift code and Java code, so allowing you to build truly native applications. The interesting part is that there is no DOM WebView involved, as is involved in Ionic and other platforms. WebView is slow. We don't need that. So that causes the major problems. And React Native is multi-threading by default. That is a design architecture. So all your events are divided into these three parts. So the main thread handles touch handling, native events, and scrolling. The JavaScript thread, which is again a separate thread, it is managing your user code. And there is a layout thread which handles your rendering. I'm pretty sure you already know about Flexbox. And you don't have to just go and say, hey, I'll just remove everything that is present in my current application and just we'll start rewriting everything in React. You can do incremental adoption. So you can just take a very small set of your application and say, hey, this component can be migrated. And then let's start doing this step by step. So incremental adoption helps you. You can have both your native application and React Native code running at the same time. And this is possible because it eventually gets compiled to native code only. So React does not follow the philosophy of write once and run everywhere. Instead, it is learn once and write anywhere. So just an example of Facebook Ads Manager. So this is an application that is written 100% in React Native. There are other technologies supporting it like Relay and GraphQL. I won't get into those details. But this is running, as you can see, on both iOS and Android. And all of those have the native UI elements. So what React Native brings to these? So development speed is one. So as a developer, we always want that I should go with speed. I don't want everything to be very slow. So I'll just give an example of this. And so for this example, suppose I had to just rearrange all these icons and I wanted that the icon size became just big. So as if you were not using React Native, you would have to do a lot of code. I'm sorry, the code is not visible, but I just changed the styles above and live reloading. I assume most people know about live reloading, but it is just basically that whenever your scripts change, the UI gets updated. And that functionality is not simply what an Android or an iOS developer is used to. So Hot Reload provides that. You change your code and instantaneously you can see the corresponding changes on your emulator or your device. Also, if I make any errors, a JavaScript framework might not essentially tell you that what errors you made, but React does that. And it does give very good documentation for what you made, what mistake you made, and what all should be done. So fixing that is just going there and changing the casing in this case. And again, it gets hot reloaded as soon as the file is saved, and it's done. Now, how many of you already know about inspect element on Chrome? So with React Native, you can do that. You can see the frames, and if you want, you can enable the inspector or disable the inspector and decide what all you want to change, and you can see that, and that enhances developer productivity again. And this can be done both on Android and iOS. So I can select the elements, see their borders, whatever padding I want to change, and whatever you want. And this gives you web development speed and native UI output. So that is a very, very crucial thing as a developer, because you get to get the opportunity to move fast as a team, and the product ship faster, your ramping up is fast, you basically get to the market very quickly. So sharing technology. So as I said, it was JavaScript. So that component which does not, I mean, if you have some components which are just business logic, or if you have some components which are just dealing with the way the things are shown, and it doesn't really matter whether they are just list views, for example. So I don't care if Android shows the chevron and other stuff which I'm showing. So the list views, for example, you can use the same list view on both Android and iOS. The difference comes in here is that on Android you have that ripple effect, and in iOS you have that chevron and that icon. Those are other things apart from this, and you really don't need all of them. So you just define a component and two separate files. In this, you already have the children, so your data will be rendered as it is. And since the ripple or the chevron that is given by touchable highlight are iOS specific and Android specific things, you define those in their specific files, and the remaining of the code gets used as shown. So an example is the Facebook Ads Manager application, which I have been showing. So 88% code of the application today is shared. So, and this is not just Android and iOS, this includes the web as well. So the business logic from web is built into this, and all the infra and the same tooling, Babel, Webpack, everything gets used. So these two provide you with development speed, the benefit of moving fast, breaking things, and sharing the same code. So as you can see, these were the problems that you faced when you moved from web to native. There were proprietary platforms, binary distributions, you have to learn Objective-C, or you have to go for Java, and you need to be aware of what all the platforms provide. These are very big challenges. React Native solves these. So open sourced, React Native is open sourced. You also get to use your React knowledge and build applications. There is instant distribution of your applications, and this is something you cannot do with other platforms. Also, React Native allows that you can on the fly change how your components look like. How many of you have seen this happening? I mean, the Facebook application's UI got updated without you even updating the application. None of you. You should be more keen observers. I have seen this happening. So on the fly, the JavaScript code is fetched from the server, and sometimes the UI gets changed, and you don't even need to download the application. Again, this is very specific, and there are restrictions around it. You cannot download other files and other things which might allow you to probably jailbreak or whatever. But JavaScript and other files can be changed on the fly, and this was not supported in Apple initially. They had an argument against this in their TOS, but it has since been removed. As I showed you before, you can reload and run your application instantaneously, which is like magic for a mobile developer. And you have unified teams working on the same thing. You don't need different people working on different mobile platforms to get the same output. And declarative APIs give you the pleasing experience as a developer. And this is just the beginning. React Native, React, and React VR now. So since AR, VR are catching up, and Facebook doesn't want that you should again learn a new language or a new set of APIs. So here's an example. This is a very basic example of an application running in. This is running in my browser, but you can obviously run it in your Oculus, HoloLens or whatever. And this is built using React. And this is not it. So if you have been following the React world for a couple of weeks back at the F8 conference, React Fiber was announced. And what React Fiber provides you is so all these, how many of you have heard of React XP? Okay. So React XP is Microsoft's port of over React, which allows you to, as I showed before, the components, you don't even need to write touchable highlight text. All you have to do is write H1, H2 in your React Native, React XP or React, whatever you want to call it, code, and then that gets transpiled to React Native code. So all these, what they were doing was that they were playing with React internals and then writing renderers over them, which was a very tricky business, and that created a lot of problems when the API got changed, and the Facebook team realized that, and with React Fiber, they changed their APIs. So there is a reconciler and a renderer API available for you. So what this helps you achieve is that all the functionality that you are using on one React platform can be easily ported to another React platform. So React Router, initially, it was only available for React. Now, with React Fiber, the Pete Liu has already ported it to React Native. So you just get that speed and you just learn it once. So React becomes a very central platform. You just need to React everything. It will render everywhere, be it native, VR, or web. Any questions? Okay. Yes.
How different is React Native from React?
So as I said, React Native is just the React Native is a way of rendering. So React Web runs your thing on browser, and with React Native, it will run on your mobile device. So you just write the view part, and everything else is compiled down. So it is just a thin layer of UI, and everything else it gets done.
So the syntax is the same.
Majorly yes. As I showed, can you just? So basically, the idea is same. You just need to know how components work, what functional programming is, or why is it needed, if needed, and a component. So. Okay. So as an example, the class syntax of ES6, and in the render method, here I have touchable and a view. If this was React, it would be like a div and you would have your HTML elements. So you just learn what specific platform things are there and you use those, and in React Native, you just see that, hey, this component is available as this. So the chevron that I showed, this. So this is a chevron, the arrow and no animation, and the ripple effect that is done by touchable ripple. So you need to know what component does what, and then you can easily apply all your React knowledge to React Native. So the learning curve becomes very low once you know React.
You mean to say if I create an app of using React Native,
Yes.
if I'm developing it on the fly, it will reflect without the other people downloading it again.
Can you please repeat the question?
Like you said, like you gave the Facebook example. Right?
Yes.
Sometimes it happens that you see the changes on the fly. So at that time, were you talking about the web version or the app version?
The app version. So all this JavaScript file, I can say that, hey, download, every time the app opens, download an application, the JavaScript from the server. So if there are minor UI changes, they can be changed on the fly without the user having to update the application. But again, this is for minor UI changes and not very big changes, because as OSs are upgraded, there are changes in the APIs internals. So not everything, but yes, this does provide you with the facility of changing stuff So the Explore tab, I'm not sure how many of you have access to it, but it is a feature just available in US and some limited alpha testers have that. So the Explore tab came on to me on the fly. So with the section that is present in the lower tabs, so a new tab has been added. So that got added on the fly for me. Same stuff happened for Messenger. My Messenger chats UI was rearranged when I opened my application after a couple of weeks.
Only the UI or the functionality?
You can do that, but it is not advisable because again, since this will get boiled down to compiled code, so it might happen that something that you wrote, I say Android provides an API X, and you change the functionality, but React Native still is using that, and that X API has changed when you upgrade. So that might be a problem. Or say you wrote something and the corresponding plugin was generating some compiled code. So when you change the component's functionality, that compiled code will still generate the same. So that might be a problem in some cases. But for minor changes, you can. Yes. What kind of? What? Yeah, it would definitely increase the network usage. This again, if you want it, you can have it. If you don't want it, your components are always made locally. So you will have to make a separate call to fetch that on the network. Yes, but that is if you want it, then you do it. If you don't, if you think you have the data that this is the perfect UI and you don't want to change it, go ahead with it. Don't A/B test it. Just decide once and use that. Any other questions?
When Google releases some new features and updates for Android Java,
Yes.
how quickly do we get to see those changes in React?
So React Native first, right?
Yeah, React Native.
Yeah. So any changes in Java? Can you please repeat the question?
I said like Google releases some new features and updates for Android.
Yes.
How quickly do we get to use those features with React?
That depends somewhat on the React community as well. So everything Facebook cannot provide you. So there are excellent plugins available, and you can just go to github.com/facebook/react, and you'll see that the whole React Native and the whole source code is open source. And you will also see that the community is building plugins. So very simple example would be that this gets repeated every time. So if you are building something and which has this, so people have built-in plugins. So what happens is, if someone in the community feels there is a need for it, for example, I needed something to schedule at an interview. So JavaScript cannot do that because again, you will block the UI thread. And so I started building a plugin. So I wrote the corresponding Java code for it. Cannot be done in iOS. So I started writing the corresponding Java plugin, and then once I publish it to NPM, anyone can use it. So some things are provided instantly by Facebook team if they think that this is something that they are already using. So Facebook team internally uses the exact same version of React Native. So all the features that you see in the application, if that is built using React Native, they would definitely come across it, and if they feel the need, they will change it and they will open source it. But if they don't, you always have the option of writing it yourself or checking if the React community has built it. Any other questions? So next, Matt.